Shalom Alechem, Assalamu Alaikum. Welcome to First Kings, chapter 12, aka Third Book of the Kingdoms, chapter 12. There are 33 verses in this chapter, and there's a lot to cover, so let's get started. Verse 2. In the Masoretic text, this is part of the information that was originally omitted from chapter 11 and verse 43. So it is included here. In verse 3 of the Masoretic text, they sent and called him, versus in the Septuagint, Jeroboam left on his own choice, not because anyone sent for him, and we can find that out again in the previous chapter. There's an addition of Jeroboam came with all the congregation of Israel, so we're not given that information in the Septuagint that Jeroboam was present. Verses 3 to 4, we're going to ignore that. Okay, verse 7, there's an addition of and answer them. And answer them. Verse 9, there are two questions being asked. The first one is, what counsel do you give? The second question, what shall I answer to this people? So what is the advice and how should I answer? Verses 1 question, the Masoretic, which is, what counsel do you give so that I might answer? Verse 10, an omission of who stood before his face. Okay, not that big of an omission. Here we go. This is probably the big, no pun intended, but the big focus of this video is my little. It says here in verse 10, my little, and finger shall be in parentheses. So my little thicker than my father's loins. So this requires some investigation. What does this even mean? Well, the word loins could mean loins, could mean hips, could mean waist. But in order to fully understand this more completely, we have to go to 2 Chronicles, and that's chapter 10, verse 10. 2 Chronicles 10 and verse 10. So 2 Chronicles 10, verse 10 in the Septuagint. Let's look at this in the Masoretic first. My little shall be thicker than my father's loins. So again, we're not given complete information in the Masoretic. In the Septuagint, it does read my little finger. So it is his little finger. The word loins, the Greek word being used is asphis, which can mean procreative power. More specifically, it is the place where the Hebrews thought the generative power or the semen resided. If we look at antiquated or old definitions of what loins mean, or another, it's an old expression, loins. It is a dated literary and biblical euphemism for the genitals of either gender, either sex. The reproductive organs. So I'm going to spell it out for you. The male version is penis. I'm not going to, don't want to get flagged for that or anything. So that's what it means. Loins means that. So literally then, what is he saying? What is it Rehoboam or Jeroboam? I keep forgetting. Okay, Rehoboam is saying literally, my little finger, or my pinky, as we say, is thicker than my father's, you know what, is penis. I know it's a medical term, but could be flagged. Okay, this is a statement to show, in my opinion, how much more masculine he is, how much more powerful he is by comparison to his father, King Solomon. So basically he's saying, you thought my father was powerful. You thought he was harsh. Wait until you get a load of me, is what he's saying. Verse 12, an addition of Jeroboam. So again, we don't know he's there with the people in the Septuagint. Verse 15, the change versus the cause. So this change of heart or of his mind was from Adonai versus the cause was from him. So the reason for Rehoboam not listening to the people versus this change of his mind. Okay. Verse 17. In addition, it's the whole verse. But as for the children of Israel that dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. Okay. Doesn't seem to be an addition, but in any case, there's an addition. The men of Israel, those who dwelt in the cities of Judah, remained, and Rehoboam king over them. Okay. I don't know if I made a mistake there. Okay, we'll just move on. So that's verse 17. Verse 18, skipping verse 20. Oh, we're not in the correct, we're not even in the right book. Okay, my bad. Okay, let's rewind. We have not been looking at this at all. Okay, it's just lined up for whatever reason. Okay, so we're going back to verse 12 then. Okay, an addition of Jeroboam. Verse 15, again, the cause and the change. The change was from Adonai versus the cause. It's interesting how it lined up very well. Verse 17, here's the addition. There. As for the children of Israel which dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. Verse 20, returned out of Mizraim versus came again. So it's more specific in the Septuagint. We have a big difference in this same verse. There's an omission of the tribe of Benjamin. They're not included in the Masoretic. So that is very relevant, very important. That is a big difference. Verse 21, the Masoretic text contradicts that it was Judah only. Look, it says here, the house of Judah with the tribe of Benjamin. Whereas in the previous verse, only Judah was mentioned. It says Judah only. So where did Benjamin come from if it's Judah only? Clear contradiction. But not in the Septuagint. I want to reiterate that. A discrepancy of numbers, 120,000 young men versus 180,000. We have a huge difference in verse 24. Why? Well, let's get ready for it. It's basically all of this, what I'm about to read. I'll just read it for you. Thus says Adonai, you shall not go up, neither shall you fight with your brethren, the sons of Israel. So this is actually included. Return each man to his own home, for this thing is from me. And they hearkened to the word of Adonai. They ceased from going up, according to the word of Adonai. Okay, here's the parts. The following was not included. So King Solomon sleeps with his fathers, and is buried with his fathers in the city of David. And Rehoboam, his son, reigned in his stead in Jerusalem, being 16 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 12 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name Naanan, daughter of Anna, son of Nahash, king of the children of Ammon. So Rehoboam is a descendant of the lineage of Ammon. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Adonai, and walked not in the way of David his father. And there was a man of Mount Ephraim, a servant to Solomon, and his name Jeroboam. So again, it's reiterating he was a servant. He originated as a servant, not immediately appeared as a traitor. And then the name of his mother was Sarira. So again, we have to correct what we said in the previous video, that Sarira is a place, or that it, not so much that it isn't a place, but his mother's name was Sarira. So it's a place that is called Sarira as well. So it is also a place, but also the name of his mother, Sarira. And she was a harlot, okay? And Solomon made him head of the levies of the house of Joseph. And he built for Solomon Sarirah and Mount Ephraim, so it still is located there. And he had 300 chariots of horses. He built the citadel with the levies of the house of Ephraim. He fortified the city of David and aspired to the kingdom. And Solomon sought to kill him, and he was afraid and escaped to Shishak, or Susakim, king of Egypt, and was with him until Solomon died. And Jeroboam heard in Mizraim that Solomon was dead, and he spoke in the ears of Shishak, king of Mizraim, saying, Let me go, and I will depart into my land. And Shishak said to him, Ask any request, and I will grant it thee. And Shishak gave to Jeroboam, or Shishak, gave to Jeroboam Ano. So we now know the name of the wife of Jeroboam, who was also the eldest sister of Thechamina, who was the wife of Pharaoh. She was great among the daughters of the king. And she bore to Jeroboam Abiah his son. And Jeroboam said to Shishak, Let me indeed go, and I will depart. And Jeroboam departed out of Mizraim, and came into the land of Sarirah, that was in Mount Ephraim, and thither the whole tribe of Ephraim assembles. And Jeroboam built a fortress there, and his young child was sick with a severe sickness, a very severe sickness. And Jeroboam went to inquire concerning the child, and he said to Ano his wife, Arise, go inquire of Elohim concerning the child. Which Elohim? Well, we're going to find out the answer shortly, whether he shall recover from his sickness. Now there was a man in Shelah, and his name was Ahiah, and he was 60 years old, and the word of Adonai was with him. And Jeroboam said to his wife, Arise, take in thine hand loaves for the man of Elohim, and cakes for his children, and grapes, and a pot of honey. And the woman arose and took in her hand bread, and 2 cakes, and grapes, and a pot of honey, for Ahiah and the man was old. So all of this has been omitted, everything I'm reading so far. And his eyes were dim, so that he could not see. And she arose up from Sarirah and went. And it came to pass, when she had come into the city of Ahiah, the Shilonite, that Ahiah said to his servant, Go out now to meet Ano, the wife of Jeroboam. And thou shalt say to her, Come in, and stand not still. For thus saith the Lord, I send grievous tidings to thee. And Ano went in to the man of God. And Ahiah said to her, Why hast thou brought me bread and grapes and cakes and a pot of honey? Thus saith the Lord, Behold, thou shalt depart from me, and it shall come to pass, when thou hast entered into the city, even into Sarirah, that thy maidens shall come out to meet thee, and shall say to thee, The child is dead. For thus saith Adonai, Behold, I will destroy every male of Jeroboam, and there shall be the dead of Jeroboam in the city. Them the dogs shall eat, and him that has died in the field shall the birds of the air eat, and he shall lament for the child, saying, Woe is me, Lord, for there has been found in him some good thing touching the Lord. I am uncertain what that good thing is. I'm not sure what that means. And the woman departed when she heard this. And it came to pass, as she entered into Sarirah, that the child died. And there came forth a wailing to meet her. And Jeroboam went to Sikimah in Mount Ephraim, and assembled there the tribes of Israel. And Rehoboam the son of Solomon went up thither. And the word of Adonai came to Shemaiah, son of Enlami, saying, Take to thyself a new garment which has not gone into the water, and rend it into 12 pieces. And thou shalt give some to Jeroboam, and shalt say to him, Thus saith Adonai, take to thyself 10 pieces to cover thee. And Jeroboam took them. And Shemaiah said, Thus saith Adonai concerning the 10 tribes of Israel. And the following is repetition, so I won't read it. So pretty much from there, it is omitted, and then there's an omission actually of thus the people have spoken to thee. Thus the people have spoken to thee. Where's that? Here it is. Thus the people have spoken to thee. Again, this is repetition mostly. And then the omission from the original narrative is the following. It says here, For this man is not for a prince or a ruler over us. And all the people was dispersed from Sikima, and they departed everyone to his tent. Another omission is the following. And Rehoboam strengthened himself and departed and mounted his chariot and entered into Jerusalem, and there follow him the whole tribe of Judah and the whole tribe of Benjamin. And it came to pass at the beginning of the year that Rehoboam gathered all the men of Judah and Benjamin and went up to fight with Jeroboam at Sikima. And the word of Adonai came to Shemaiah, the man of Elohim, saying, Speak to Rehoboam, king of Judah, and to all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying, Thus saith Adonai, you shall not go up, neither shall you fight with your brethren the sons of Israel. Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me. And they hearkened to the word of Adonai, and forbore to go up, according to the word of Adonai. Okay, so that's all of that. Most of it was omitted, and that seems like a whole chapter unto itself. That's how long that was. Okay, verse 27, we have the name of Yah. The heart of the people returned to Adonai. This is actually Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, or Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh. In the Masoretic, it's not read that in that way. It's read as their Adon, referring to Rehoboam. So he's saying, Jeroboam is saying they're going to return not only to Yah, but also to their master, who is Rehoboam. And then verse 28, let it suffice you to have gone hitherto to Jerusalem. So let it be enough that you have gone here to Jerusalem to worship these golden heifers, versus it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. So he's saying you haven't gone up to Jerusalem yet, but in the Septuagint, no, they're already there. They've arrived in Jerusalem. Verse 30, an omission of, and left the house of Adonai. So that is very hurtful. They left the house of Adonai. They abandoned him. Verse 31, houses versus house of any part of the people. So anyone who was part of Israel was made to be a priest. In the Masoretic, it reads as such, the lowest of the people were made priests. So in the Septuagint, priesthood is open to all, everyone and anyone. In the Masoretic, it's more specific as to the lowest of the people. So people of low rank, the lowest of the low perhaps, or those who are of a low moral standard or standing. So that's all for this video. That's a lot to go through. We might do a short on the what he actually said in terms of his little finger was thicker than his father's you-know-what. So thank you very much for your time. Until next time, I bid you all Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Shalom Aleichem. Salamu Alaikum. Irini Mazisu. Pax Vobiscum. And peace be unto you. May the Lord bless you and keep you always. And I bid you Maranatha.